All right, good morning, everyone. This is Kimberly Cook, and I work for Maryland Mentor, and I am the Resource Development Vista. And today we will be with Thandor Miller on understanding youth development principles for mentoring programs and program staff. Next slide. All right, here's a little bit about who is Maryland Mentor. Maryland Mentor is one of the newest statewide affiliates of Mentor, the National Mentoring Partnership. We relaunched in January 2018, and our roots date back to 1996. Our mission is to fuel the quality and quantity of mentoring relationships across the state and to close the mentoring gap. Our vision is that every young person will have the caring adult relationships they need to grow and develop into thriving, productive, and engaged adults. We support the mentoring programs and organizations that support young people. Next slide. Our support, we have many types of support throughout Maryland Mentor. Our first one is the connection to the National Mentoring Partnership. The National Mentoring Partnership allows us to provide resources that may be more national than we can allow that is less local based and more national based. We also provide free program consulting and technical assistance via the NMRC. Maryland Mentor has 12 amazing consultants with the vast—
Hello, can you hear me? This is one of the interpreters, and we are not appearing on the screen. You have 2 deaf participants. Can you please promote us to panelists so that the deaf participants may see us?
Okay, I have Rachel as one.
And Mary Ann.
Yep, we're both connected with audio, but not on the screen at all. So the deaf people currently have no access at this moment.
And the alert that I'm receiving is you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
And I see the exact same thing. I'm the other interpreter, Rachel.
Kelsey and Rachel, are you able to press the video, the start video on your end?
When we press that button, the message we receive is you can't start your video because the host has stopped it. Okay. So something needs to change there, yeah.
Okay, we'll fix that on our end. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Ellie, available? Ellie, are you there?
Ellie's actually not on this one. This is the Maryland Mentor training, but we'll figure that out real quickly.
Thank you.
Kim, go ahead and transfer host capabilities to Sadiq, and let's get this figured out.
There we go.
Okay, you both should be good to go now.
All right, there we go.
What's that?
The video.
I don't see the interpreters on the screen.
Interpreters should be allowed to start their video now. Can you all please try?
So I tried and it did get the bar across. So now if I click it, it'll say stop video, but I don't see the video on the screen.
I can see it.
I can see, yeah, I can see.
Oh, so Thandor as the presenter is the spotlight video. and the participants that need to see the interpreters can pin their own interpreter.
Okay, I can't see myself to see if I'm in the screen or to adjust it. Is there a way that I can see myself?
So let's go ahead and unspotlight and go. Sorry, everybody, we're figuring this out. Okay, how about now? Can you see yourself?
I can see me, but it's a tiny square in the corner. I'm trying to make it bigger.
I see you now, Marianne, but I don't see me.
I see you.
That's your setting, Rachel.
Okay, we can ask the participants if they can see you guys. Right?
How do I change it so that I can see myself? What setting do I change?
You want to click up top where it says speaker view and adjust your video screens.
Jeff said he can see everything.
Okay, got it. Yep. Okay.
All right, let's proceed, everybody. Thank you all.
Let's just check in with Kelsey and make sure that she can see us.
Yeah, participants are saying they can see everyone. So again, any participants that need to see the interpreter will have to pin the video on their side.
Yes, Kelsey can see you all.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to temporarily stop my video so that Marianne will be larger, and we'll switch back and forth throughout the webinar.
All right, that's great.
All righty, rock and roll. Back to you, Kim. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, so back to me. Maryland Mentor also has access to the Mentoring Connector, as well as programs do and organizations do as well. It is the only national database of mentoring programs. It is a free service for mentoring programs to recruit more local volunteers. Anyone who is interested in becoming a mentor can search for opportunities. Also, Maryland Mentor provides local customized trainings, roundtables, communities of practice. Maryland Mentor is always finding new ways to talk about these topics that come up, including COVID. So we always have more webinars coming up, so look out for them. We also have the promotion of best practices, the elements of effective practice, access to NQMS, connection to funding opportunities via the link, also access to marylandmentor.net, which will show endless resources. We can also have speaking engagements, so if you would like one of us to speak, or just email us. And next slide. Here are some additional tools that can be downloaded as hard copies, the elements of effective practice, and also more details on our technical assistance and an extensive list of more guides and tools. Next slide. The logistics of this webinar just include things of where to chat, where to ask questions, when to ask questions. So number one, all attendees will remain muted unless called upon by the speaker and/or might ask for volunteers. So that's where you would be called upon. Using the Q&A for all questions you may have while the speaker is presenting. And I will make sure I monitor the Q&A to make sure all questions get answered either live or via chat. The chat box is used for comments, aha moments, additional resources, and responding to requests from the speaker. Make sure to type to all panelists and attendees. This will be under 2, and then you click the drop-down arrow to all panelists and attendees. Use your raise hand feature for when the speaker asks or calls on volunteers. There will be 2 10-minute breaks throughout the training at the 1-hour mark and the 2-hour mark. Towards the end of the presentation, there will be a link to either type in your browser or click via chat box. In order to go on to questions, the evaluations must be completed. Additional questions that you may have are to be held until after the evaluation process is complete. Any questions about that, you can type it in the Q&A, or any comments, you can put it in the chat box. Next slide. All right, a welcome circle. We want to know all about you guys. We want to know where you're from, your name, your organization, and one thing you're looking forward to learning today during this training. Just type that in the chat box. I'll give you a few minutes. All right, we have Missy from Dorchester County, from 4-H. We have Virginia from CCBC Out of School Youth. She's looking to learn about mentoring services. Carmen is looking forward to strategies of strength-based approach. We have Raul Diaz, Community School Coordinator from Lewisdale Elementary School in Prince George's County. We have a few others who are typing in. Everyone type your responses so we know who you are and know where you're from. We have Danny Lee from Caroline County 4-H. We have Jeff Walker. He's excited to hear Thandor Miller speak. The man, the myth, the legend, Thandor Miller. All right, a few more. We have Jennifer Rudo. She says hello. We have Marvin Reese, Community School Coordinator from Thurgood Marshall Middle School. All right, I see everyone's messages. Thank you. Natalia Diaz is the working at the Latin American Youth Center. She would like to learn more about mentoring services. Emily from St. Francis Neighborhood Center in Baltimore, looking forward to bringing more mentorship ideas into our after school and summer youth programs. All right, on that note, we're gonna get started. Next slide. Our speaker, Thandor Miller. Here's this picture of him. I'm just gonna read you a short bio, give me 1 second. Thandor has been a leading professional in the field of youth development and OST programming in the district for the last 35 years. He is a youth development specialist and master facilitator of youth work practice. As the founder and CEO of Washington Enrichment and Cultural Arts Network, also known as Weekend Incorporated, he created a model OST program successfully serving at-risk youth in wards 5 and 7. He is certified as a national facilitator in the field of youth development by the National Training Institute for Community Youth Work, a program of the Academy for Educational Development. He is also a trainer for the Advancing Youth Development course. He is also responsible for the delivery of DC BEST, building exemplary systems of training courses, and the design and delivery of other related youth development training opportunities for community-based organizations, government agencies, youth development volunteers, and key stakeholders. Next slide. All right, please welcome Thandor Miller, everyone.
Okay, thank you, and welcome everyone. I want to do a little activity that's going to put us on the same page so that we can move forward as one. Now, you might need a calculator for this activity. So use your phone or You might need one, you might not need one. Okay, here we go. I want you to choose any number from 1 to 10. Any number from 1 to 10. Once you have that number, I want you to multiply it by 9. Multiply your number by 9. Then I want you to add the 2 digits that you came up with. If your resulting answer resulted in 2 digits, I want you to add those 2 digits. Now subtract 5. Subtract 5. And now I want you to convert it into the alphabet, the proper sequence of the alphabet. In other words, if your number is 2, then your alphabet would be B. If your number is 1, your alphabet would be A. If it's C, your alphabet would be 3, and so on and so on. Once you do that, once you convert it into the alphabet, then I want you to choose a country starting with that alphabet. I want you to choose a country that is a one-word country, not a 2-word country like Puerto Rico. No, we only want a 1-word country, starting with that alphabet. Now what I want you to do is think of the name of an animal starting with the last alphabet of your chosen country. Think of an animal that starts with the last alphabet of the country you chose. And once you choose your animal, I then want you to think of a color starting with the last alphabet of your chosen animal.
Can you give me 1 second, please?
Okay. Now that was the last instruction. And if we're all on the same page, then I think we all can agree that there are no orange kangaroos in Denmark. Do we agree? No orange kangaroos in Denmark? All right, let's move forward. All right, let's talk about the goals and objectives of this session. Our goals, and you can actually turn into your manual and you'll also see these goals on page 1. The goal is that you will reflect on your current youth engagement strategy, and we're gonna learn about concepts and practices of a strength-based approach to this work. We have 3 objectives, and the first one is that you will reflect on your own experiences as youth and relate those to the current youth development practice. Objective 2 is that you will explore characteristics of engagement, and we're going to define conceptual and practical definitions of youth development. And our last objective is that you will examine this concept, actually it's a principle, of universal needs of youth. Okay. Who are youth workers? Let's say that youth workers are individuals who work with youth to facilitate their personal, social, and educational development. Well, why are youth workers important in the lives of young people? Well, youth workers are important because they make it possible for youth to gain a voice. They're important because they make it possible for youth to have influence. They make it possible for youth to find their meaning in society, their meaningful place in society. And youth workers help youth gain the competencies necessary to be successful adolescents. Do you see yourself in that title? As a mentor? No, I asked that wrong. Your title as a mentor, do you see yourself in that definition? Research in the field of youth development has shown that the presence of a skilled and knowledgeable workforce of youth workers and mentors, such as you, is the greatest determinant and the most powerful driver of positive outcomes for young people. Your energy and your commitment to this work is to be commended, and I'm glad to take the time to be with you. I have a question for you, and I want to hear some responses. You can raise your hand, you can put it in the chat box, but I would like to hear a few responses to this question. Why do you do this work? I want you to think about that and share with me your why.
All right, we have someone who rose their hand, Yvonne Owen, or also, I don't think that is your name, but I'm gonna have someone let you speak.
Is someone speaking?
Yeah, I just don't have the capability anymore to.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay. So maybe they should just put it in the chat box if we're not going to be able to hear them speak.
I just have to have Sadiq let them open.
Okay.
You can speak, or they can speak. I'm sorry.
All right, thank you.
Is that Navon?
Hi there. I am actually Navon's assistant. I am Danny Lee. I raised my hand. I'm assuming you all are talking to me. I see Navon's name pop up on the screen. Is that right?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Hi there. I raised my hand quite quickly because honestly, I do this because it makes me feel good. It makes me feel happy.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? What's your why? Why do you do this work?
All right. Carmen says, they have so much power, but society doesn't give it to them. Their voice is smaller, so they want to help.
Okay, thank you.
Isis says, kids are so pure and just need guidance. I don't think I had enough support or guidance, and I'd like to provide that for those who need it. The chat moved. I am a holistic health practitioner, and children are the foundation or the root of the world's success and destruction.
Okay, let's take a couple of more. Maybe two more.
I think I'm saying this right, but I lost it again. Hanukkah says, I do this work because I'd like to help youth gain strength to be understood.
Okay, thank you.
It says, I see myself in them, and when helping them, I am fulfilling that hole in me which I didn't have.
Okay, all right. I think we actually have about 99 participants. And so with such a large number, you see why we can't take everybody's why. But I appreciate you for giving us that why, and continue as we go through and I ask for answers or responses. Please continue to give them, and we'll jump around and take as many as we can. But as you heard from your colleagues, we all come to this work from different life experiences, but as you heard, for the most part, we all come for the same reason. We find ourselves helping young people navigate a world that likely feels different from the one that they grew up in. Would you agree with me that youth are growing up in a very different world today? A world of constant change, one that changes even more as the technology continues to evolve. They're growing up in a world where they are facing unprecedented social challenges. And I like to say it like this: they're growing up in a world where we have become so technologically advanced that we are socially ill-equipped. Have you ever met a child who does not show gratitude? Ever thought about a child who does not know how to show gratitude? Because not knowing how to show gratitude does not mean one is not grateful. For the most part, as youth workers, we all come to this work with good intentions, but good intentions are not enough to develop an effective developmental relationship. So how do we develop an effective developmental relationship? Well, first, it begins with preparation and awareness of self. And how is this done? We prepare ourselves first by doing self-work, by taking a deeper look at self, as Michael Jackson would say. Take a look at the man in the mirror. We prepare ourselves first by taking workshops, such as this one, that will build your capacity for being a better mentor, by keeping a personal development journal. And how many of you keep a journal, a life journal? And how about a journal that also captures your attitudes, your assumptions, and the experiences of your mentoring work? We prepare ourselves first by reading books that empower and inspire you to reach the next level of your best self. Then the next stage is negotiation of the relationship between you and the mentee. And this happens in the conversations that the two of you have. Conversations that should result in a mutual understanding of the process that the mentor-mentee relationship is to follow. Those conversations will become the roadmap for the relationship. What do you think about that statement? Young people are partners with us in their development, but they are not responsible for it. And at this point, I would like to hear some responses. Young people are partners with us in their development, but they are not responsible for it. Just a couple of responses.
All right. Isis agrees and says they are not responsible. They are products of what's around them.
Okay. I like that.
Anyone wants to raise their hand? Now is a good time.
Amber.
All right. All right. I'm trying to hit the button. You can speak now, Amber.
Hi. So I know a lot of times when we're working with teams, we do not include them in like the development process of like programs. Even in their education, they're not included in like the curriculum planning. So when we get kids in our after school program, they're so disconnected from a lot of things because they're not asked like, how would you like to be involved? And even taking it a step further, when they're breaking like rules or not adhering to expectations, we don't include them into the discipline planning of it as well. And I find that, you know, when we give them a voice to say like, this is what we want like a part of the conversation. This is what we want consequences to be. This is what we want expectations to be. They hold themselves to a greater standard, and we see that in their daily progress.
Okay, thank you, Amber. Young people are partners with us in their development, but they are not responsible for it because we are. We're responsible. We're responsible for showing them, teaching them. We're responsible for their development. They should be learning from us. And learning is the fundamental process and the primary purpose of the adult-youth relationship. One of the principal reasons youth will not engage with adults and adult systems, and therefore the building of the relationship fails, is because the learning process is not tended to. The art of facilitating the learning process is not maintained by the adults. When working with teenagers, sometimes as adults, we just get caught up in correcting and demanding. And as youth workers, you have to become facilitators of a developmental relationship that is structured, trusting, and caring. You must be facilitators of a developmental relationship that offers guidance, support, and encouragement aimed at the developing the concepts and character, the competencies and character of your mentee. You must demonstrate some skills of engagement. Now we're going to talk about the characteristics of engagements later, but first, let's take a trip back to your high school days. So I want you to go back in your mind to your high school days, and I want you to think about, first, something that you were really good at in high school. What was it? Let me hear a couple of examples. What were you really good at in high school? Oh, let me put some parameters around this. What were you good at in high school that your parents would be proud of? Okay, all right.
All right, Rhonda says she was good at reading.
Okay. Okay.
Alex says math. AL says science.
Okay.
Lauren says French and lacrosse. Natalia says writing. Lisa says writing. Melanie says track and field.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's a good sample. Okay. Question number two. Tell me, even if you didn't answer that first one, answer this one. How did it feel to be good at that thing? And we might as well add this. How did you know that you were good at that thing? So how did it feel to be good at that thing? And how did you know you were good at it?
Tia says unique and confirmation from other people.
Okay.
Melissa says great, good grades, was asked to tutor others.
Okay.
Melanie says confidence builder.
Mm-hmm.
Jessica says empowered.
Mm-hmm.
Melanie also says by training hard and then winning races. Mm-hmm. And one more, AL says it felt good, other people confirmed.
All right, okay. And then my last question is, how did you learn to do that thing that you're talking about? Was there someone who brought you or taught you? Who brought you to this thing? Who taught you this thing?
Lisa says great teacher or mentor.
Okay.
Melanie says coaches and watching other great runners. Mm-hmm. Jessica says that there was a teacher that mentored me. Okay. Alex says dad had me do extra math work outside of school. Coaches and teachers, mothers, aunts, and more teachers and mentors and parents.
Okay, all right. Okay, so it's important to think back to how it felt to have the ability and opportunity to do something well. Through this exercise, you just articulated through your own personal youth experiences that young people have competencies and strengths. Those are youth development terminologies that we understand that young people come to the table with the glass half full because they already come to us with competencies and strengths. When you talked about how it felt to be good at that thing and how you knew you were good at it, in our youth development concepts, we actually know that you were identifying a youth need called self-worth. And in the field of youth development, we know that when youth needs are met, then they become developmental outcomes. And in this case, the developmental outcome would be called self-worth and the ability to contribute. And then on the last question, when you answered the question of who brought you and who taught you, you were identifying the role of the caring adults. As mentors, as youth workers, we fall under that column of caring adults. You know, when my wife and I were putting the We Can program together, before we even started that program, we started in 1999 and we ended it in 2013. But before we even started, we would come home every evening from work and we would have this conversation around the African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. I'm quite sure you are familiar with that proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. I believe it takes the village. It takes the parents because they play the initial role in the socialization of the child. And then I also believe that when the child social space is expanded to the neighborhood, when they become old enough to play outside, it takes other adults in the village, such as the adults next door, the adults at the corner grocery store, the school teachers, youth workers, police officers. It takes all the adults in the village to raise a child. But have you ever asked yourself this question? What if the village is sick? What would be the actions of the young people? And I tell you, you can always measure the wellness of an adult village by the actions of the young people because their actions are only indicators of what they've been taught or not taught, what they've seen or haven't seen. What if the village is sick? And then the sickness of the village is that the adults keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. Sounds like another definition, huh? It's called insanity. So let's examine some of the practices of the village, and this is the way I want to do that. If I asked you all to write your own autobiography, then you would be able to come up with two lists. You would be able to come up with a list of good guys, and then you'd be able to come up with a list of bad guys. And when I say good guys and bad guys, I'm actually talking about adults. You'll be able to come up with a list of good adults, a list of bad adults. So let's start with those good adults. Who were they? And let me just hear a couple examples. Let me hear a couple of responses. Who were the good adults in your life as you're writing your autobiography? So what do we got, Kim?
I'm just waiting for responses to come in.
Okay.
Miranda says, my grandmother.
Okay.
Ron says, my mom, dad, and neighbors.
Okay.
Alex says, music teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Danny says, the friend's mom who would make me snacks after school.
Okay.
Melanie says, mother, coach, teachers.
All right. Okay. Now, if we are staying true to our autobiography, if we're going to be 100, we're going to keep it real, then we know that we got a list of good adults, but we would also come up with a list of bad adults. who would be on your list of bad adults? Share.
All right, I don't want to get them mixed up. So all messages coming in now are going to be bad adults after
Yes.
one.
Yes.
Some teachers and neighbors.
Teachers, neighbors, okay.
We got parents.
We got parents. We had parents on the good guy list. Okay, come on, let's keep going with it.
We have aunts and neighbor's boyfriend.
Okay, okay. So
First boss.
Okay. You know, this list is starting to sound like the good guy list. So I think we can actually say the same people. Same people. And that has always interested me. How is it that you and I can share the same teacher? Teacher loves you, and you love the teacher. Teacher can't stand me, and I have no liking for the teacher, but it's a teacher. I've always been interested in how adults make that list. How do they find themselves on these lists with young people? And I believe that the list is based on the characteristics that the adults bring when they're interacting with you. And it's those characteristics that get them placed on a certain list. And so first I want to take a look at, we're going to look at characteristics, but we're going to look at characteristics of those adults who made the good guy list. And I just have a few from past classes. I'm quite sure that you have ones that I won't mention, but let's see if you can agree with the ones that I do mention. So we're talking about those characteristics that the adults who made our good guy list would demonstrate. Characteristics such as present, supportive, caring, patient, non-judgmental, and good listeners. So this is just a few. I'm sure in your mind and in your experience, you're able to name a lot more good guy characteristics that will get an adult placed on this good guy list. So what is the quality of this list? What would you say the quality is? Did I get a response? What is the quality of this list? I'll take about 3 responses.
Okay, I'm just waiting for them to come in.
Okay.
Emily says ideal.
Okay.
Kanako says perfect discipline.
Okay.
And Alex says nurturing.
Okay. And I would add that everything on this list, the quality, I would add that is positive. Now my next question is, and I'll take maybe 3 responses. How does this list, how does these characteristics make a young person feel?
Jeff says valued. Carmen says makes them feel loved.
Loved.
And Kimberly says makes them feel heard, supported, and special.
All right, okay. And I think that's the way we want young people to feel. All right, so let's shift over to the bad guy list because we're gonna keep this 100 and we're gonna keep it real. What were those characteristics that the adults brought to the interaction that made you put them on that bad guy list? They were dishonest. They never followed through. They were manipulative, judgmental, abusive, and condescending. And I'm sure you have many more to add. What is the quality of this list? I'll take a couple of responses. What is the quality of this bad guy list?
Isis says not trustworthy or dependable.
Okay.
Kimberly says it's certainly negative.
Yes.
And Kanika says disruptive,
Yes.
manipulative, and abusive, Virginia says.
Okay. And it's certainly all falls under the column of being negative. And so my last question again is, how does this list make young people feel?
Emily says small. Tia says small. Kimberly says not supported, heard, or valued. And Alex says ashamed of themselves.
Okay. My main point is that I want you to remember is there is overwhelming evidence that the presence of caring, supportive relationships between young people and adults is one of the most critical factors in the healthy development of young people. In research on childhood resiliency, the presence of those characteristics from the good guy list is the leading indicator that young people will be healthy and productive adults, regardless of their economic circumstances and other risk factors. So, which list are you on? Which list has the young people that you work with put you on? You know, I plan to do this work for a long time, which means some of those young people that you're mentoring, they're going to grow up to be teachers, youth workers, police officers, correctional officers, all those groups that I teach. They're going to take this class. They're going to answer that question. So my question to you is, what list are they going to put you on? And every day as you do this work with young people, as you come into contact with young people, remember those good guy characteristics. You know, Maya Angelou said this, I sort of tweaked it a little bit. Young people may not always remember what you say. They may not always remember what you do, but they will always remember how you made them feel. I'll take a couple of responses. Any comments so far? What has risen up for you?
Carmen said trying to be on the good list.
Okay.
Kanika said young people see me as having an attitude and a protector.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Kanika said young people see me as having an attitude and a protector.
Okay. Having an attitude and a protector.
That's how I'm reading it.
Okay.
Yeah. Lauren says remembering how much you can impact youth.
Okay.
And Kanika wants to raise the hand, so
yes.
I'm going to allow you to talk.
Yes.
Maybe get some clarity on that.
Okay, thank you.
You can talk now.
Thank you. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. How you doing?
Thank you so much. Well, I just speak it the way the 7th graders have said to me, and little people. They say I have an attitude, but I'm a protector. So they find I'm caring, helpful, but when they do something that they want to do, like maybe if speaking bad about somebody because someone spoke bad about them, I tell them that's not right. And they say I'm protecting everybody and no one will have anything good to say for themselves, so they can't speak up for themselves because someone's always being mean.
Okay. Okay. So, okay. So I'm gonna take this license, if you'll allow me, that some of them might see you as strict.
Yes, stern,
Okay.
they call me.
Okay. All right. So good. Thank you for that. Watch what we do with this. See, that word strict could fall on either column. Strict could fall under the column of the good guy. It could also fall under the column of the bad guy. How many of you, I want you to think, how many of you have had that adult who made your good guy list, but that adult was strict? But they still made your good guy list because you knew they cared for you. You knew that in their strictness, they were patient. You knew that in their strictness, they were there, they were present, they were non-judgmental. And so that strictness was surrounded by all of these other great characteristics. How many of you have had an adult who made your bad guy list and they were strict? But they were also abusive, manipulative, mean, and those other characteristics that fall under that bad guy list. So strict could be on either list, but we want to be the kind of strict that's surrounded by the other high qualities that we saw on the good guy list. See, we have 4 minutes before we take a break. I'm going to actually, let's open the mic and allow people to share for these next 4 minutes. We'll take the break at 10:30 because I don't want to go into this next activity and then cut it off in 4 minutes. So someone else, what do you have to share? What have you picked up so far? What are you thinking about? What's going on in your head?
Okay, if anyone would like to raise their hand, now is a great time. All right, we have Danny. I'm going to allow you to talk.
Okay, so I think we'll take these two participants. We'll run us to the 10:30 hour.
Okay, hi. I am going to share something that happened to me when I was in elementary school. I'm 50 years old now. I still remember this to this day. I know the teacher's name. I remember how I felt at this specific time. I mean, I have carried this with me my whole lifetime. I walked in between two teachers talking when I was heading to class. So I'm in elementary school. I thought I was, you know, I thought I was the it person. I mean, I loved my life. I was, you know, friends with everybody. I was just, you know, the kid that everybody wanted to be friends with. So I'm walking down this hallway like I always did. And I walked right in between these two teachers who were talking with each other. And the teacher stopped me very abruptly, put me in my place. I did not know what to do. I was speechless. She simply told me I was being disrespectful and never to walk in between adults when they were talking. I really didn't think I was doing anything wrong or anything, but at the time, you know, I was on top of the world. You know, I thought I couldn't be beat, you know. And to this day, I still practice the art of respect, because ultimately that's what it was about. It was about respect. And I never, it's something so little, but I would never walk in between people when they're speaking to each other, you know.
Thank you for sharing that. Let me ask you this. And so as the teacher stopped you, at the end of what she told you, how did you feel as a person?
I felt so little. I didn't know how to react, actually, because, you know, I didn't really believe I was doing anything wrong. But I can tell you this, I was being reprimanded and put in my place. And however I felt about that teacher, like I said, I still remember her name. I still remember what she looks like. I can still feel how I felt then, now. And
That's
so
right.
even though I felt little and tiny and chastised, and, you know, like I was slapped on my hand, I remember that she was really only trying to help me. Maybe her delivery of that could have been better, because, you know, I mean, it was
Well, let me ask you this. As you teach the lessons of respect, do you use her same delivery style?
absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And so, you know, as human beings, we have this great skill of being able to rationalize our abuse. There were so many other ways to learn the lesson of respect. Learning that, and I'm quite sure you teach the lessons of respect in a total, you just said it, you teach it in a totally different way. Because, like Maya Angelou said, young people always remember how you make them feel.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. As we work with young people, there were other ways she could have stopped you and taught the lesson of respect. She could have stopped you and taught you that rule of how not to walk between people when they are talking, and you would have still felt on top of the world, and you would have still remembered that lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. It's actually 10:31 according to my clock over here, my watch. So let's take that break. We're taking a 10-minute break. So I'm going to ask you to come back 10 minutes from whatever is on your.
All right. At 10:40, I'll start talking again, and that's when you'll know we're back.
Okay. Thank you.
There's going to be some music in the background.
Hang on with the music, Kim. Let's check in with the interpreters, because we've been getting a bunch of emails that things still aren't situated. So if we can check in with our interpreter panelists, you all can unmute yourself, because one of the issues is that we're still seeing two individuals that are labeled as Kelsey.
Yes.
Label one of those names.
Right. One of those says, from what I'm seeing on mine, it says Kelsey Fector, and then in parentheses, me, that because she's registered twice as a panelist.
So we can't see that. So you need to click on the side. So you need to click on the side where it says more. Rename. Whoever's not Kelsey. You should put your name in there, so that would help us. Different access and.
Okay, hold on. I'm pulling it up here now. But the one that is me, I need to rename that.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay, boom. So now we see. Okay, boom. So now we see. Perfect. So number two, as it pertains as a panelist or
you're breaking in and out.
Okay, do me a favor. Someone needs to mute. There we go. So as a participant or panelist, you control how the speakers appear on your screen. So there are up and down arrows at the top and bottom of the screen view. So anyone who can't see the video of whoever is presenting, that is whoever's presenting, that is there on our end.
Okay, I usually see on my screen the speaker view and gallery view, but when I'm off, I'm not working, I'm closing my video, I can't see my team. and able to support her if needed.
Marianne, I can
so-
see you right now.
Marianne, I can see you right now.
Yeah, I can see you now.
Okay. But
You're-
when you
Okay.
stop your
But
video,
when
you can't see me?
Stop your video, you can't see me?
Right.
Just try it now. Stop
Like,
your
hold on,
video.
let me,
Try it now. Stop your video.
I can see you now.
Okay, so I think it got solved.
Okay, so I think it got solved.
Like, okay, we'll try it. Let's see. So like when Thunder starts again, hopefully we'll be able to figure this out. Because I try to get his screen is like this big for me because I can't click. There's no option for me to do gallery view or speaker view.
That's
So-
because
That
he's
usually
sharing
is there.
slides. That's because he's sharing your screen won't get any.
What's that?
Screen won't get any. No, I said that's because he's sharing slides. So the video of the presenter himself or you all won't get any larger. But in terms of how you see, that's a setting on your side. Speaker view or is controlled by the
I think it's actually on the host. It's on the host side to allow me to, because we've done these webinars before, and I've always had. This is a little bit of a different screen for some reason, but we'll try to work it out. Hopefully, now that I am on there as panelist, you know, with an interpreter. But then Kelsey's also
you
there.
did as a panelist. That wasn't the issue. We wouldn't be able to see you or hear you if you.
Okay.
Yeah, Marianne, do you see all three of us on the screen right now? Yourself, myself, and Thandor?
No, I just see you on the bigger. and then
Okay,
me
so
on
at the
smaller
top
one.
of the screen,
Okay, so at the top of the screen,
do you have an option where it says
you
enter
have an
full
option where it
screen
says enter full screen.
or an
Yeah.
upper right-hand corner where it says speaker
Upper
view
right-hand
or
corner
gallery
where
view?
it says speaker view or gallery view.
I don't have speaker view. All I have is fit to window or original size or request remote
So you're looking
control.
at view
I've never
options.
seen
That's
those
not
You're
what I'm
looking at
talking
view
about.
options. That's not what I'm talking about.
Go all the way to the upper right-hand corner.
All the way to the upper right-hand corner.
Of the screen that you're on?
No, of the whole screen.
No, of the whole screen.
The only option I have is for full screen, exit full screen.
Next to that, it doesn't say
Off
speaker
and
view or
turn
gallery
around.
It
view.
doesn't say speaker view or gallery view.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. I don't have that option for some reason here.
Yeah, that's really weird.
You could have an
That's really
older
weird.
version of Zoom as well.
Well, it's just, no, I've had the same one with some of the other webinars I've done, Sadiq, so I don't know.
If it's working, if it's working for one panelist,
Yeah, because what you're seeing, what you're
Yeah,
explaining,
What you're explaining that you're
seeing
that
where you,
is-
where you.
I'm sorry, it's hard because I hear me. Can you
I'm sorry,
mute
it's
yourself,
hard because
Marianne?
Can you mute yourself, Marianne?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you say, like right now, I only see you. But if I hit, well, now it's not. If I hit gallery view, then I see all of us. So only seeing one person is a speaker view problem. So I'm not sure. Yeah, you can't scroll through when you're limited that way. So I'm not sure what's happening technically with your computer, I guess. But
My husband's a computer engineer, and he was in here trying to help me, and that's what he was saying. First of all, I wasn't registered as a panelist. I was registered as Kelsey, and then he
But
checked the
Kelsey is registered as a
participants.
panelist, so we're all registered as panelists.
So we're all registered as panelists.
Right.
Maybe you need to be made a co-host.
Maybe you need to be made a co-host.
Is that what? No, you're as a panelist or a co-host. Okay.
Keep experimenting with video options. Again, really apologize to everyone for these technical challenges, but again, the information thus far has been absolutely life-changing continually, Thandor. So we appreciate you, and we'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, all right. So we're back, and I'm back with a new question. I would like to hear the responses. And the question is, why is having a personal vision as a mentor important? Why do you think it's important for you as a mentor to have a personal vision about this work? Think about that for a while, then share what comes up.
Lauren says, so you have a path to follow and goals to reach.
Okay.
Alex says, to guide your actions, behavior, mentoring style.
Okay.
That's all I have right now.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'll keep going. Thank you for those. You're absolutely right. It's important. It also helps us anticipate what we believe will be if we have a personal vision. Okay, let's see. There we go. A personal vision guides your work and provides the direction necessary to chart the course of your days and the choices that you make about engaging your mentee. Think of your personal vision as the light shining in the darkness when times get rough. It illuminates the path so that you will know where you are going and know where you are when you get there. So I want us to do an activity that's going to get you thinking about your personal vision for the youth that you mentor. Now, along with the attachments, the manual, there was a second attachment, which is a Dear Youth letter. So if you all could pull out your Dear Youth letter. If you don't have it, you can look at the screen and just fill in the blank spaces. I'm going to read the letter. It says, Dear Mentee, welcome. During our time together, I hope to give you the chance to, and fill in the blank. I want you to experience, fill in the blank, and to always, fill in the blank. I hope that you will learn to and will also. And then my greatest hope for you is that. Okay, so I want you to take about 3 minutes and complete the Dear Mentee letter. And I'm going to ask people to share. So be ready to share. Let's take about 3 minutes and get that done. Thank you. Okay. Who would like to share? Who would like to volunteer to read their letter? All right, I got a hand raised.
All right, Isis, let me unmute you. There you go. You can speak now.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hello, hello. So what I wrote was, dear mentee, welcome during our time together. I hope to give you a chance to be your authentic self. I want you to experience different point of views and to always remember the most important one is your own. I hope that you will learn to express yourself and will also be open to other people's expression. My greatest hope for you is that you will feel more than satisfied with your relationship with yourself and with others. Respectfully, Isis Peace.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Who else would like to share? That was beautiful.
All right. We have Lauren.
Okay.
Lauren says, dear mentee, welcome. During our time together, I hope to give you a chance to learn and grow. I want you to experience friendships and education and to always have fun. I hope that you will learn to not take yourself too seriously. My greatest hope for you is that you develop into a positive adult who does good work and always displays compassion, patience, and respect.
All right. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Next.
All right. I don't have any more in the chat box, but if someone wants to raise their hand.
All right.
We have Danny. I'm going to allow you to talk.
Let's hear it.
All right, I'm trying to unmute you. Give me a second.
Okay.
It's not. There you go.
Okay, mine is, dear mentee, welcome. During our time together, I hope to give you a chance to thrive. I want you to experience happiness and to always remember your worth.
Yes.
I hope you will learn to believe in yourself and will always believe in others. My greatest hope for you is that you will take joy in learning the things that you can achieve.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right, come on, fellas. I know we got some fellas out there. Come on, represent. Who we got?
Hold on, I'm trying to figure out the settings.
Okay.
There you go.
Is it Kanika speaking?
Yes, Kanika.
Okay. Dear mentee, welcome. During our time together, I hope to give you a chance to become creative and strong. I want you to experience life skills, accountability, and responsibility objectives, and to always do better than the day before. I hope that you will learn to grow a personal development and will also remember you can find a voice to speak for yourself. My greatest hope for you is that you can become courageous, as it may look different than your peers. When you learn to write in details, make your storytelling great. Respectfully, Kanika.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
One thing.
All right, I'd like to hear two more. I hope that one is from a fella. Come on, fella.
All right, one thing real quick before that, I want to ask everyone in the chat if they can see our slides. Type a yes if you can see the slides. All right, thank you, everyone.
Okay. All right, I'll take two more.
All right, raise your hands, everyone.
All right, we won't force it.
All right.
Okay, so we're gonna move on. All right, so those were great letters. And what was the quality of those letters? I think the quality was high. I didn't hear anyone say, dear mentee, I just hope you don't get locked up. I didn't hear anyone say, dear mentee, I hope you don't get pregnant. or I hope you don't drop out of school. We all manage to have high expectations for our mentees. One thing that I found is when you take the time to create a vision for your work, when you create a vision for whatever you're doing, that vision, because you take the time to create it, it raises your consciousness to a higher place, to a higher level of thinking. Now, my question to you, or what I want you to be aware of, is in every blank that you filled in, when you said, I hope to give you a chance to, when you said, I want you to experience, and I want you to learn, for every blank that you filled in, the question you want to ask yourself, how are you going to do that? Because you have the power to make that happen, because those are your ideas. They came from a place within you. They're authentic to you. The point of power is always in the present moment. You have the power to make those become realities with your mentees. You can get that done. I like this letter because it helps us become intentional about our work, intentional about what we're doing here. In your letters about your hopes and dreams, you put your thoughts on paper, you cast a vision. So you now have the beginning creation of a platform for your mentees to stand on. And I call that platform hope. When young people have a firm foundation of hope, when they have a positive image of self and an unyielding belief in their ability to do, then they can take on this thing called responsibility. That letter is a reflection of your belief. And what you believe, your premise, those are the propositions that serve as the foundation for how you work. To be effective, youth work has to be anchored on the beliefs that young people, no matter how problem-ridden, have potential and a desire to realize that potential. That letter tells us the way you see a child. And the way you see a child is the product of your perception, and you alone control your perception. When we look for strengths in our youth, the way you did in your Dear Mentee letter, then we're able to work developmentally. I want you to turn to page 2 in your handouts. And I want you to focus your attention on the term youth development. I'm sure we've heard this term numerous times, but now I want to unpack it, starting with the youth development conceptual definition. And it goes like this. The youth development conceptual definition is the process by which all young people seek ways to meet their basic physical and social needs and to build competencies, knowledge, and skills necessary to succeed as adolescents and into adulthood. So let's break that down. Let's unpack this definition. Process. When you hear the word process, what do you think about? A process. Do you think of something that's ongoing, a continuous action, a process, something that's happening 24/7? This development for young people is ongoing. It's always on. It's always happening. It's happening 24/7. All young people, what do they mean by all young people? Well, this process is being taken on. All young people are going through this process. And so what I want us to do is get a visual of the all young people that they're talking about. When they say that all young people are going through this youth development process, they're talking about your 4.0 as well as your no 0.0 and all the young people in between. They're talking about the young person that, or the young people that sit in the front of the class and actively participate and raise their hand, as well as the young people who sit in the back of the class who don't participate and don't raise their hand. They're talking about the young people who get up and show up in class every day, as well as the young people who walk the hall and won't go to class, as well as the young people who leave home and won't show up at school. They are all still going through this same process called youth development. All of them are going through a process where they're building their competencies and skills. And young people are always building their knowledge base, always building based on what's around them. They're always learning based on what's around them, what catches their attention, who can keep their attention. Because all young people want to succeed, and this is where we miss it as adults. Young people want to succeed in adolescence. We've been taught to work with them to succeed in adulthood, to show them how to be successful adults. We totally skip over the now. The now for young people is adolescence. Our now is adulthood. Young people want to be successful now, in the now. And showing them how to be successful now is what prepares them to be successful in adulthood. You see, because if they can have success now, then when they become adults, they know what success looks like. Any questions about that conceptual definition? I'll pause and take a couple of questions, if there are any. Questions or comments? Was there anything in that definition that turned a light bulb on for you? Aha moment, or something that maybe you hadn't thought about? Anything in the chat box?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Tia said that was a profound breakdown.
Okay.
Lauren said that's such a great way to look at it, helping adolescents to succeed now so they know what success looks like, rather than having them only strive to succeed as adults.
Mm-hmm. Because when we talk to them only about, or mainly about, how to be a successful adult, that's a world they can't practice in now. They can't practice in the adult world the lessons that we're giving them to prepare them for the adult world. But they can practice in this world, in this time, as adolescents. You know, when I found this definition, I flipped the script. 80% of my interactions with young people is about how they can be successful adolescents, how they can be successful right now in their lives. And 20% of my conversation is about, well, these are some things you might need to know when you become an adult. And they engage with me. They love engaging with me because we're talking about the now and we're talking about their right now. Okay, if there are no others in the chat box, we'll move on to that second definition.
Kimberly said, too often adults don't focus on helping them be successful right now. We are often helping them look to the future instead of right in this moment.
Mm-hmm. 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 Let's move to the, oh, did you have something, Kimberly?
That's all I have.
Okay, great. So we'll move on to the second youth development definition. My God, there are two definitions for one word. The word is youth development. So we're looking at the practical definition for youth development. And it says, the practical definition for youth development is that youth development is an approach to working with young people that define goals, which are outcomes, based on capacities, strengths, and developmental needs of youth. Okay, let's unpack it. Approach. When you hear the word approach, what comes to mind? What about the way you're going to go about it? What about your strategy? How you're going to get it done? Approach. Based on capacities and strengths. So our approach to the way we're going to go about it, our strategy that we're going to use when working with young people should be based on their capacities and their strengths, should be based on what young people bring to the table already. And we have to recognize that what they bring to the table already is the glass half full. They are not empty vessels waiting for us to pour all the knowledge and information inside. It's important that we learn to identify the capacities and strengths, because identifying and working in a strength-based way helps young people meet their developmental needs that they're trying to satisfy. Working in a strength, recognizing their strengths helps them get engaged with us in our plan for their development. It sort of reminds me of when we had our weekend program, the Washington Enrichment Cultural Arts Network. We used to get youth from the Juvenile Justice Services here in the District of Columbia. They would bring some youth to become a part of our program because they recognized the success that we were, the successful results that we were getting. And it was always entertaining for me to watch my wife talking with the case managers from Department of Youth Rehabilitation Services. So they would always come over first to let her know that we're sending this particular young man to your program next week. And they would always come with a case file. And they would put that file on the table, and my wife would sit down with them and they would start having a conversation. And every time that they would start to open the case file to read from it, my wife would, without them knowing it, she sort of put her hand in the way and keep the file closed. And then she would eventually slide the file out of their reach and they wouldn't even notice it. And the conversation would go to its natural end, and she would thank you, and we look forward to receiving the young man next week. And when they would leave, my wife would take that file, hold it up to staff and say, this particular person is coming next week. I'm going to put this file in the office and no one is to look at it for the first 2 weeks. 2 weeks has to go by. We have to interact with this young person for 2 weeks before anyone is allowed to look inside this file. And why does she do that? Well, because what we found when we look in those files, there's always a long list of their deficits, but there's no list at all of their strengths. And our approach to working with young people was based on their capacities and strengths. And so in meeting the young person, we would then discover, interacting with the young person, we would then discover their strengths. So some points that I want you to remember is that first definition, there are two definitions on youth development. The conceptual definition, the first definition is solely about the young person. Youth development happens without us. Youth development is the growth and the learning that young people are experiencing at all times. I want you to remember that you are working with young people who already have a set of diverse, wide-ranging, different experiences upon reaching your mentor-mentee relationship. When you meet your mentee, that young person is already in the midst of their own youth development process. And then that second definition is for us. It's our instructions. The practical definition tells us how to do this work. Comments, hit your chat box or raise your hand. I want to hear what you think about those two definitions. And how will you use these to guide your work? How do these definitions inform what you do as mentors?
Just waiting for chats to come in.
Okay.
David says, need to build a real relationship with them so we will know their strengths and weaknesses so we can guide them.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, David.
Tia says, training all staff on the same approach.
Okay. That is important, to train all staff on the same approach, to train all adult systems on the same approach, allows young people to have a consistent, positive experience with adult systems if we were all on the same if we all understood the same concepts. That's why I teach such a diverse group of systems, from police departments, the Metropolitan Police Department. I've taught all of their school resource officers. I've been going in doing that work since 2011. I've done some work with the police departments in New Orleans, school teachers, all systems that work with young people fall under that definition of a youth worker. Thank you for that. Let's get some more. What else is in the chat?
I don't have any more at the moment.
Okay.
Actually, I do have one from Kimberly.
Thank you.
Says, good point. Youth development happens without us. When they come to us, we want to be in a place to add to their lives and not to take from them.
Absolutely. Thank you. Answer me this, group. Ooh, interpret this for me. What do you think I'm saying if I say, if a child does not bring will to the table, meaning is not transferable? And I'll repeat it again since I didn't include it. If a child does not bring will to the table, meaning is not transferable.
You guys can feel free to raise your hand if you have any input. Kimberly says, we cannot override a person's will. It takes an individual to be open in order to receive.
Okay.
And Lauren says, a child must be open and willing to learn in order to gain knowledge and skills from a mentor.
Okay.
And then I have one more. Virginia says, well, can be engaged in activities and conversations to redirect the person for a positive outcome.
Who said that?
Virginia.
Spot on, Virginia. High five to you. Because we can override. And sure, we know they must be open and willing, but if they're not open and willing, if a child does not bring will to the table, we know that meaning cannot be transferable. So what is this saying to us? It is saying to us that we have to step up our game, step up our skill set of engagement. How do we get them engaged? Because they are partners with us in their development, but they're not responsible for it. We are responsible for it. So that means getting creative. That means sharpening our skills, sharpening our characteristics of engagement. Because if they're not willing, then we have to find ways to excite them, to inspire them. You know, I always like working with older youth for, a couple of reasons. And one of those reasons was that older youth run their mouth. They got opinions. They may not know how to socially say it in an acceptable way, but that's my job. That's my job to teach them how to code switch their language so that adults can understand it or accept it. And then the other reason I like working with them is because they vote with their feet. If they don't feel connected to something, if they don't like a situation, if they're not feeling it, they walk away. And whenever they walk away from me, I never look at them as if they're not interested, they don't want anything. I look back at myself, at the man in the mirror, and say, wait a minute, I need to tweak something about my approach. I need to tweak something about this message so that it is palatable to them. I need to tweak it so that I can get them engaged. That's my job, to get them engaged. So if a child does not bring will to the table, knowing that meaning is not transferable, then I'm gonna do all I can to get them to bring that will to the table. I feel that responsibility. That's just me. Did we get anything else, Kimberly, in the chat box?
Yes, we did.
Okay, what we got?
David Ricks said, learn how to open them up.
Yes.
Danny said, to reach them, to make them trust us.
Yes.
Luis said, if you establish a good relationship with the youth and see that you're real, he/she will buy into it.
Yes.
And that's it.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. All the rational analysis and all the apparent synthesis of every analysis known to the mind of man has not and cannot and never will explain every situation. Sometimes some things will remain part of the mystery of life. Sometimes when working with youth, you will find no science because science is difficult to apply to teens who display both an admirable capacity for reason and a frightening inclination toward irrationality as they head toward personality integration, a process that can be dizzying for even the most experienced youth worker. I know that was a lot. But understanding this next youth development concept called youth needs helps us move from asking why youth do what they do. That's a wrong question. To asking what need are they trying to get met? You see, in our work with young people, we often look at what young people do, and we never look at the underlying reason. What need are they trying to satisfy? Because young people do all that they do to get a need met, and they will get this need met by any means necessary. And so it is 11:21. What I'd like to do is take our 10-minute break now, because I don't want to break in the middle of delivering this concept. Is that okay?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so let's do it. So again, I say come back 10 minutes from whatever you have on your watch. Thank you.
At 11:31-ish.
All right. So as a way to help this, to help you ground this next concept, what I'd like for you to do is everyone write 3 reasons youth attend programs, and try to write it from the stance of what you've heard them say, not from your adult intellect. Write it from the standpoint of what are some of the things you've heard them say as reasons why they attend programs. Just write 3. And I want to capture some of this. So please be willing to post it, be ready to share it. We have 99 participants, so I think I should get some good stuff. As soon as you get it, start posting it, start sending it.
All right, Isis says to keep busy, true interest, and their friends are something. Their friends are not finished. The sentence is not finished.
Okay.
Austin said parents made them, community service. Alex said to get paid, it's required or interested in it.
Okay.
Isis is finishing the sentence as friends are joining.
Okay.
Najuma said it's better than being at home. They can get homework done and they get paid.
Okay.
Melissa said fun, parents, and friends.
Mm-hmm.
Virginia said they want to follow other youth and meet their dreams.
Okay.
And Tia said, I want to do better. I'm tired of doing the same thing every day. I need different friends. Mm-hmm. It's mandatory. The groups are enjoyed and they receive incentives. A break from class, and I get to express my feelings.
Okay.
And that's all I have at the moment.
Okay, that's good. That's good. We can work with that. Express feelings. All right. Okay. So this is some of the stuff that I got. They come because they're truly interested in it. They come because mama made them. They come because it's mandatory. There are incentives. They come because they don't want to be at home. They're bored. They come for homework help. They come because it's fun. They get a chance to express their feelings. They come because they can meet new friends or their friends are there. And I'm going to add some things. They come because they want to do the volunteer work, and they come because of food. So the things that you captured, I want you to keep those in front of you as we talk about youth development. You see, because what you just gave me were reasons that young people say they want to attend out of school time programs. These are reasons that they say they want to go. And in the field of youth development, we understand that the reasons young people do things is to get a need met. So when we understand what those basic needs are, we can help them fulfill that desire to get that need met. And it's based off, a lot of times it's based, you get to discover it by listening to the reasons that they do things. If I'm making sense, I hope I'm making sense. Okay. All right, I'm trying to make, all right, here we go. Youth needs. So let's unpack these youth needs. And I'm going to tell you, young people do by any means necessary whatever it takes to get these needs met. And sometimes it looks strange to us. These are 7 universal needs. And when I say universal needs, that means I can go anywhere in the world and teach this concept, because this applies to all youth. And youth includes those double-digit years from 10 all the way up to, it used to be 20, but now they've moved the needle up to 24. And as a little sidebar, some of you all may not know, or you may know, that the science now proves, the brain science now proves that those adolescent years are not done until a person reaches about 25 years old. Because that brain won't fully develop to the point of understanding short-term or long-term consequences until they're around 25 years old. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. That first need out of the 7 youth needs is safety and structure. Grab a pencil and paper. If you turn in your hand out to page 3, you'll have a list of these youth needs. This is where I want you to take your notes, because I want you to take the notes. When you hear something, write it down. We're talking about safety and structure. Safety and structure is the need that youth have to feel safe in the world around them. Young people want to feel that the daily events in their lives are somewhat predictable. And they look to us to help them meet that need of safety. So they look to us to provide a safe environment. They look to us to be consistent. You know, when they walk into a program, when they walk into a classroom, they look for a schedule. They want some predictability. What are we going to be doing, or what's going to be required? And they're looking for us to post those things. They look for us to create the environment where they don't have to worry about being bullied by the person that's sitting to their left or right or behind them. But trust and believe that when we don't provide that need of safety, they do by any means necessary whatever they need to do to get that need met. That next need is belonging and membership. Young people need to feel valued by others in the family, in the community. That's what makes groups of friends so important to them. Group membership is so important because young people need that belonging and membership. They need to feel valued by others. Self-worth and the ability to contribute. That's a need that young people have to feel that they are a good person, to feel that they have something to give, that they have something of value, that they can make a contribution. We should be setting up systems that allow them to make contribution because it meets the need of self-worth and the ability to contribute. That next need is self-awareness and the ability to reflect and assess. This is that need that young people feel a need to understand and own their own uniqueness. They need to feel that it's okay to question, ask questions about life, about themselves. Independence and control over one's life. That's that question the young people say, well, what part of this is mine? You adults tell us what to do, when to do, how to do it. What part of it is ours? We need to have some autonomy in this. We need independence, some control over our life. We need to feel that we have some control over the daily events of our life. That next one is closeness with at least one lasting relationship with an adult. It's a funny sounding sentence, closeness with at least one lasting relationship with an adult. That's the need to feel valued and respected by adults that they can trust. The Philadelphia school system used to put online this thing called the Philadelphia Report Card. And one of their studies showed that when a young person in high school could find a caring, lasting relationship with any adult in the building, that young person's chance for graduation jumped to the 99th percentile. That's how powerful meeting this need is for young people. And the study went on to say, even if the person in the building, the school building, was a custodian, if it was a caring, lasting relationship, that young person's chance for graduating jumped to the 99th percentile. Then that last one is competence and mastery. Young people have a need to know that they are good at something. You ever have young people follow you around asking you, can I help you do this? Can I pass out those papers for you? Can I help you do? And whenever we see that happening, we should always say yes. We should always find something for them to help us do, because they are seeking to meet that need of competence and mastery right there in the moment. That's what we're looking at. So I hope you took good notes, because now what I want you to do, if what we talked about earlier, you gave me reasons that young people attend programs, and I just told you that young people do things to get a need met. Well, now what I want to do is look at those reasons and let's decide what need are they trying to get met based off these 7 universal needs. So I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes to do that. Make that alignment. If you said that young people come to programs, they like to go to programs because of the food, then what need are they trying to get met? If they like to come to the program because they like to volunteer, what need are they trying to get met? If they come for homework help, what need are they trying to get met? So I'm going to give you about 3 minutes to align the youth needs up to the reasons you wrote down for young people attending programs. Then I want you to share your responses. And as soon as you complete it, you can start putting it on the chat. You can start typing it in the chat box. For those of you that don't want to come live, we still have about another minute and a half.
Lauren said to put it on their resume, competence and mastery.
Okay. Wait, I don't understand that. To put it on my resume. Now remember, what we're talking about, we're going from the reasons that young people say they attend programs.
Well, if Lauren responds to that, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Najuma said safety and structure, belonging and membership, and closeness to an adult.
Okay. So what you just read back the youth needs. I need to know what reason did that align to. In other words, someone says safety and structure. Well, tell me the reason that young people attend programs, and then tell me the need that they're trying to get met.
Okay, I'm gonna
maybe
read what Lauren said, and then Isis raised the hand. So
okay.
Lauren said, my apologies, they attend programs to put something on their resume, program completion, and the need they are trying to meet is competence and mastery.
Okay, okay.
And I'm gonna let Isis raise their hand, talk.
Okay.
Unmute yourself.
Yes. So for the belonging and membership, that's kids basically trying to find a group that they feel like themselves, or they have friends in, maybe some type of art group or something that feels true to themselves. And I guess that would be self-worth and ability to contribute as well, and self-awareness.
Okay. All right. So let's take it one at a time. So what I'm hearing you say.
One at a time.
Yeah. The things
Okay.
you just said, one at a time. Because I want to be clear with them. I heard you say that they may go to a program because they want to meet friends. Did I hear that?
Yes.
Okay. And if they want to go to meet friends, then what need are they trying to get met?
So that would be belonging and membership.
Absolutely. What was the second one you said?
Then I went to self-worth and ability to contribute.
No, wait. What I want you to do is to first go to the reason that they attended
the reason, and then go to the youth needs.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can see the pathway, the connection clearer that way.
Okay. All right. So another reason that they may join a group may be to learn a new skill and to become better at it. That would be competence and mastery.
Absolutely.
Now, are we doing 3?
Okay. You can give me your 3, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. It may be to, I'm trying to think of the before I get to the youth needs. One's like,
And the reason while you're thinking, this is for the whole class, the reason that I'm going in this order is because what we come into contact with first are the reasons that young people do things.
So
we have to learn to look at the reason, which is natural for us, and then figure out what need are they trying to get met based on the what they're doing or the reason that they're doing what they're doing. Okay.
So another one may be because they need somebody that they can trust and talk to, depend on, and that they know will do what somebody that they need to depend on can do. Like, maybe that can be food, which I thought you said earlier. That could be food, just somebody to talk to, or somebody to give them some guidance. So that would be closeness with at least one lasting relationship with an adult.
Right, as long as that person is an adult. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Someone else?
Najiva said, my mentees express having a voice, so they want self-worth and ability to contribute.
Okay, great.
Virginia
I need to hear some more. Come on.
Virginia said, to meet their basic needs, to build a future career and get independence, to feel valued and included.
I didn't hear the reason, though. I didn't hear the reason that they joined the program. I heard the need. I didn't hear the reason. Okay, so as we go forward, I want to hear the reason that they joined the program. They joined the program to volunteer. A young person said, I want to join this program because y'all do volunteer work and I like doing volunteer work. Well, if they join the volunteer, then what need are they trying to get met? And that could be one of two. That could be self-worth and the ability to contribute, because that's what happens when we do volunteer work. It lifts up our self-worth and we are able to make contribution. Sometimes we do volunteer work as the means of competence and mastery. Can I get a couple of more?
Yes.
Okay.
Carmen said, wanting to be in a better mental health space, so it's self-awareness and ability to reflect and assess.
Okay. And a couple of more would be nice.
Tia said, I need to do something different equals control over one's life.
Okay. Okay.
Hold on, I'm looking to see ones that have both.
So if they join, if somebody answer me this, if they join the program for homework help, what need are they trying to get met? Somebody answer that.
Well, here's two more comments that people mentioned. I think they were just typing.
Okay.
Nika said, reflecting on my response, the reason to do something different. Youth needs belonging and membership.
Okay.
When youth are going to a program to build closeness with at least one lasting relationship with an adult.
That's if they like the staff. So their reason for going to the program is because I like Mr. Peterson. I like Miss Johnson. I like the staff. That's the reason. The need they're trying to get met then would be closeness with at least one lasting relationship with an adult.
Okay. So
now,
I have a lot of competence and mastery. Everyone's commenting that.
Oh, yeah. That was to my question of our homework help. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If the need is to get homework help, then if the reason is to get homework help, then the need is competence and mastery. Great. You know, I teach a longer class. I actually teach a 4-day class on concepts and principles of youth development. The class is called Advancing Youth Development, where we're able to take a deeper dive into understanding these youth needs. Today, we just had to go wide, but we weren't able to go deep. And so there's a lot of other activities we do to actually ground this concept. There's a lot of more information I give around this concept. I just wanted to introduce you to this concept so that we can begin to, when we see young people do certain things, we can get beyond being stuck on what they do, what we see them do, and start getting to asking that real question of, well, what need are they trying to get met? Because that's when we can truly help them. For example, if two young people are fighting in a program or fighting in school, the traditional thing to do that we do is bring those two young people together to find out the reason why they're fighting. And so we want them to tell us why they're fighting, what is the reason. And then our end game is always designed to get them to apologize and make up. And there is a physical thing that we like for them to do that signals to us all is well. And that physical thing is shake hands. and we get them to apologize with each other and then shake hands, we think that based on those reasons that they were fighting, all is well. And what do we know to happen 4 hours later when they're either outside of the program or outside of our site? What are they doing 4 hours later? They're fighting again. All because we didn't really get to the underlying need. We stayed on the surface, which was reasons level. This concept allows us to go deeper to the root of a situation, to the causation of the situation, rather than working from the level of the effect of the situation. Okay? So here are some points that I want you to remember. Today, with the benefit of a growing body of research in youth development, we know that to contribute positively to young people's learning and healthy development, we must address and meet their broader developmental needs. Further, because these are the same things that young people say they want from adults and adult systems, providing for these needs is how we can both attract and sustain their involvement in their own development. And getting them involved in their own development is one way they find out their own potential. Youth development is not a destination, it's a journey. A journey that young people take into adulthood. And then guess what? The journey continues. Along the journey, young people desire to meet caring adults like you, who will offer them guidance, support, and encouragement. Adults who will help them discover their own potential and their own abilities. And remember this, keep trying, keep moving, keep inspiring, keep helping, keep believing, keep dreaming, keep hoping, keep loving. You got this. Thank you for sharing this time with me to explore some of the concepts of youth development. I believe that concepts have the power to change the way we look at things. And when you change the way you look at a thing, the thing you look at changes. So that's my presentation. I'm open for any questions and any comments and any reviews. I would really love to hear your takeaways. What did you walk away with? Kimberly?
All right, so next slide. Here is his contact information if you guys would like to contact him. This is also in the chat and the Q&A, so if you'd like to retrieve that there. Next slide. Okay, so I am going to put this in the chat box as well. These are upcoming webinars by Maryland Mentor. We have 4 coming up, and we always have new ones popping up, so make sure you check the Maryland Mentor website. The links in the chat box are clickable, and just register there. We'd love to see you there. Kimberly, you'll get the slides if you request the slides via email. Check the Q&A box for the emails to contact. Next slide. Okay, so I want you all to complete this quick evaluation. It should only take a few minutes. And after the evaluation, we can ask further questions and take comments. I'm going to type the bit.ly into the chat box if you guys can do that. All right, just click that and we'll give you a few minutes. Also, these evaluations really help Maryland Mentor and our trainings. It just helps us better improve and know what we can do in the future to better engage, or just let us know what we did good, what Thando did good. Actually, The link is not working. I just tested it out. Yes, I just realized that. Sato just sent a link in the chat box. You can use that one. It's a SurveyMonkey one. So I'll give you to 12:05 to do that SurveyMonkey link. So Sadiq, there is an error since this survey is the same survey from the previous trainings. If someone has already completed the survey from a previous training, they can't do it again.
Oh.
Okay, I was just able to fix that. Let me know if that issue occurs again.
Yeah, it's working now. So the most outdated link is the one you should use to finish the evaluation.
Look at that. We got a crack team of specialists fixing stuff on the spot. Shout out to the Maryland Mentor team. Shout out to Thandor. Thank you very much to our interpreters. And one more reminder, no more questions from Thandor until after your evaluation. Thank you all so much. And we see some of y'all trying to get out of here. We see this attendee number going lower. Stop that, y'all.
Thank you, Kimberly. I'm hearing from Sato that we only have 4 evaluations complete. I hope you guys are putting a lot of good information in those. That's why it's taking so long. Can't wait to see what you guys say. Awesome, Lauren, thank you. All right, I'm gonna give you guys one more minute or a few. Yes, thank you for mentioning that, Lauren. The importance of the evaluation is just really, really good to put that out there. Thank you, guys. All right, so I'm going to move it on to questions now while you guys can still continue to fill out those evaluations, and the link will always be available for you. You can ask me for it, or you can just refer to the chat box. If you guys have any questions or comments for Thandor, let me know, or you can raise your hand. A lot of thank yous.
Thank you.
Lauren also said the exercises were very engaging. My takeaway is that you should always step outside of yourself and take into consideration the youth perspective.
Thank you. I like that first exercise that takes us back to our high school days. Because often, I mean, how often is it that teachers and youth workers work with young people, totally forgetting the fact that they used to be that age?
Yes, Jeff, I'm going to allow you to talk. You can unmute yourself.
Yes, hello?
Hello.
Hey, yeah, I just wanted to say that this was an amazing training. I'm always impressed by how much more I learned in youth development, even though I've been in this role for maybe like almost like 18 years now. And I also just wanted to comment on the training. I think that if you enjoyed this training and you have not took the 40 hours with Thandor in the AYD Advancing Youth Development, I really implore you all to really take advantage of that training. I took it 5 years ago, and I still refer to the PYD practices, the understanding youth needs were very beneficial tools into me mastering myself in this field of youth development. So I just wanted to thank Thandor again for putting on this training, and yeah, employ all our participants here to really like reach out to them and get some more of this training.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jeff. Kimberly said, youth development is a process. When youth come to us, they are already in the stage of development. Also, to consider their reason and always what is the need behind of their behavior, the need behind their behavior.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Because a lot of times we just get stuck at the behavior. We just get stuck right there at that awful behavior. And how can we fix that behavior? And we'll never be able to fix it until we start asking the right question. What need is this young person trying to get met? What need out of that list of 7 universal needs? That's where the answer is.
Okay, I don't have any more coming in at the moment, so Jeff wants to raise his hand again, so I'll let him talk. You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, I have a question. Theodore, you mentioned that, you know, in your, I don't know if it was your program or another program where you all wouldn't look at the youth's like chart until like 2 weeks after engaging with the youth, right?
Right.
So I work with in a lot of group homes, detention centers, and they always, you know, tell you, hey, you better read that person's chart. You better read that person's chart. Right. But traditionally what happens is we tend to judge and interact with a youth based off of what's written on paper.
Absolutely.
So like, how do you combat that in a system where, you know, your employer, or it's just the system of, you know, judging a young person based off of, you know, their criminal history or background, and to like really ensure like best practices are being met when we're engaging with youth? Because like you said, like the actions that they take are to address a youth need, right? But if we're judging some of those inappropriate or destructive behaviors, and we're kind of like basing our interactives off of what their
what their profile is.
Yeah, what their profile is, instead of just looking at, you know, hey, what need are they trying to address? Because we don't do that in a lot of the spaces, right? When we're working with youth, we don't talk about, well, you know, this person did X, Y, and Z because they are dealing with this. They just say like, hey, this person is known for, you know, stealing cars, or this person is known for carrying guns. So we need to watch out for this person, make sure you don't leave no belongings behind where that person can steal from. So like, how would you address that?
Well, the way I would address it, and you know, when you're working in a system, to turn a system around is like turning an ocean liner around on the ocean, a big, huge ocean line. It takes hours. It takes forever for that ship to turn around. But when you're working in systems, it's the same way. It takes even longer. It takes a long time for a system to turn around. So the way I would deal with it is, if I'm in that conversation, then I would ask the group, well, let's talk about assumptions.
Okay.
What are some of the assumptions that we as a system, that America as a system, what are some of the assumptions that we have, that we make about young people? What is the danger of making assumptions? What's the benefit of making assumptions? And then I would segue into this particular file that we're getting ready to look at. Now, are we gonna start making assumptions based off this information? I would start posing, those kind of points in the conversation before we actually open up the file. And then, if I'm able to get some sway, what I would try to do is convince the group, well, what would happen if we interacted with this person for 2 days or 3 days before we looked at this file? See, because my wife and I, we were the founders of the organization. We could do the 2-week thing. But if I'm working for a system, then I'm just going to try to convince that system to give us 2 days maybe to interact with this person. But I'm really going to try to bring best practices to that system. The conversation of what do we know about youth needs, and what do we know about this behavior, this behavior that we're going to see. How are we even able to evaluate it if we don't understand the concept of youth needs? The concept that this young person is is demonstrating this behavior to get a need met. We need to know what need out of that list of 7 needs, not a need that he can't talk to his mama. The need of closeness with at least one lasting relationship with an adult. If he can't talk with his mama, maybe that's what that need is out of those list of 7. So that's the way I would go at that. I would make sure that everybody at the table understood the reality of assumptions and how do you feel and how do you interpret and how do you value assumptions, because that's what's getting ready to happen if we just read this file.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
I appreciate your question.
All right, I'm not getting any more in the comments, and no one else is raising their hands. Okay. So. Do you have anything else to say?
Well, again, this youth development practice is a practice. We only know what we know. As a matter of fact, these concepts, they just become and remain good concepts. They mean nothing until we put them to practice. Otherwise, it's just a good living room conversation, as I like to say. But these concepts will reveal nothing until we, as individuals, put it into practice. And on the other side of that practice is where we will get the greater understanding of it all. Again, I thank you all for doing this new thing with me, this virtual learning.
Good point. We thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of good information.
Thank you.
All right. Again, if you guys want to access this webinar, you'll have to request it via the emails, either Thandor's email or my email, and we can communicate on that. And it was nice talking with you all and hearing all of your thoughts. And we hope to see you at a future Maryland Mentor virtual event. Thank you.
Okay.